topic of today's lecture is local resources, their financial and strategic importance. We'll start off today's lecture with a quote from Sun Tzu. The tactical principles are of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road to either safety or ruin. Hence it is a subject of study which cannot be neglected. Now, you're going to wonder, who am I? Well, I'm a published author. I've got about 13 or more titles under my belt so far. I'm a self-defense instructor. I've got 6 different styles I'm teaching. I've got a master's degree in acupuncture and oriental medicine. And I lived in Japan for about 4 years. And yes, I speak the language. Nihongo wakaru? Now, in Sun Tzu's first chapter on the art of war, he said from 5 principles we can predict the winner in any given conflict. Number 5 was laws. If you've got really simple laws that are logical and easy to follow, your side's more likely to come out on top. Number 4 was leaders. If your leaders are multi-talented and wise, if they know more than just warfare and politics, they're more likely to come out on top. Number 1 was the path. If your higher and lower ranks are motivated towards the same goals, you're more likely to come out on top. Number 2 was heaven, the climate and weather. So if you're taking advantage of the sunny days to dry your clothes, if you're taking advantage of the rainy days to get your crops watered, if you're using the climate to your advantage and dressing appropriately, you're more likely to come out on top. And number 3 was earth, your geography and local resources. If you can make use of what's around you without having to buy it, without having to bring it from home, you're more likely to survive any given situation. And that's the main topic of today's lecture. We're going to go over the financial and strategic importance of local resources. One main issue is being able to acquire your resources and being able to replace them. You've got a cost factor, you've got a quality factor, and you've got a time factor. And then after that, we'll go over some of our local resources for Texas. Now, resources that you can gather from your local area or your backyard are pretty well free. Now, if you've got to go to the other side of town, if you've got to go across town to another town, that's a little bit more expensive to go and get them and bring them back, or to have them shipped in. Now, if you're going to have those things shipped in from out of state, or go out of state and come back and bring them in, that's even more of an expense. Whether it's in your gas or fuel, or paying for someone else to ship them in. You've also got to pay for them to make it, pack it, deliver it. Now, if you're going to be buying a lot of resources from out of country, for a single individual, that can get prohibitively expensive. Big companies can handle it, but for one individual, that's a little hard. Quality control. If you don't know the people making a product, you have little influence over the final design and quality. Now, if you're making it yourself, or if you know the people that are making it, you can have some influence over the quality and the design. And obviously, if the people making it are far away, it's harder to get to know them, harder to make contact. Replacement time. If there's an emergency, transportation and shipping lanes may be closed. So if you're waiting on it to come from afar, you may be waiting a long time. Your reserve supplies may get damaged in an emergency, depending on what kind of emergency it is. For example, if there's a forest fire, if you live near the forest, wood, timber. The whole thing can get decimated if you don't have your own local resources to use. Hurricanes. Remember Katrina? They're still cleaning up. They're still waiting on people to bring in things from the outside to fix the mess. Tornadoes. A tornado can sweep through and destroy a town sometimes. Texas, as I recall, is still part of Tornado Alley. Earthquakes. Buildings can fall down in big earthquakes. Small ones, like the ones they've been having around Dallas-Fort Worth, and what they have in Japan a lot, usually can survive. The big ones, things get broken.
Learn the real magic behind painting secrets, such as how to take the smell out of paint, cool tools that take the pain out of painting, how to clean a paintbrush in 10 seconds or less. National decorating expert Brian Santos says he reveals the secrets that will get you through your next decorating project. This show will begin in approximately 10 minutes on the Wizard Workshop stage, Celebrity stage, on the back aisle.
Okay, enough about the wizard. Okay, tidal waves. In Japan, in northern Japan, after the big earthquake a few years ago, a lot of places got swamped. They're still cleaning up. There are some places that have decided not to rebuild and not to go back to their hometown because they haven't been using local resources in a long time. They don't know how to fix it. Now, in Texas, in the northern part of the state, we've got minerals. We've got sandstone. We've got clay, red, yellow, and blue clay. The blue clay is used for finer ceramics. We have coal and iron ore deposits. We've got oil. We've also got some marine fossils in the northern side of Texas, including crinoid fossils. We like to call them pop rocks, because if you put them in a fireplace, they pop like fireworks. They're also popular for some types of jewelry and for use in various designs. We also have a few semi-precious stones like jasper, and every now and then you can find some turquoise washing out of the ground. Now in the southern half of the state, we've got a lot of limestone. That's calcium hydroxide. It's useful for a lot of things, including getting carbon dioxide out of the air. That's what NASA uses on their carbon scrubbers. We've got caliche soil, which is partially calcium carbonate, or chalk, and partially sodium nitrate, which can be used in fertilizers. It can also be used as an accelerant in fireworks lime. We've also got gray river clay. It's also often used in cement and concrete. If you mix it with the lime and the sand, it makes pretty good masonry cement. And we've got oil. We've also got some marine fossils here in the southern part of the state. We've got nautilus and ammonite fossils in that limestone. A lot of museums like it. It's also really good for design. Some people like having that in their buildings. Oh, for those that are not familiar, the nautilus, it basically looks like a squid with a snail shell on it. We also have some useful stones in the area. We've got flint and gypsum. Gypsum forms when the sulfuric acid reacts with the limestone. Now, weather. In East Texas, it's hot and humid. In West Texas, it tends to be hot and dry, except during the wintertime. And in the center, it fluctuates. There's actually a line that goes between the middle of the United States that goes to Texas. On the east side, you can have normal farming where you get wet springs. On the west side, you can adjust your farming practices. Now, local resources, plants. We've got various types of cacti in Texas. Prickly pear and barrel cactus. If you get the thorns off by burning or scraping them, it's edible. It's used in a lot of southwestern cuisine. You can also make jams and jellies out of it. We've got yucca and century plants, both of which have fine fiber that can be used for making twine and rope. The flowers on the yucca are edible. They can also be used to make a shampoo. The pulp inside of the century plants is edible. It's been used as a hair conditioner. The root on yucca has been used to make beer. It's also been used to make a hand soap. Mesquite trees. The thorns make a good awl. They'll go through rubber and even steel-belted radials. The flowers produce a nectar that makes it very sweet honey. And even the beans are edible. They were used to make a flour that's used sometimes in Mexican cuisine. That's also used to make a syrup. You can boil it for the sugar content. We also have juniper bushes. We call them mountain cedar trees. Every part of the plant is an astringent. The berries are a diuretic, and it's edible. There's a lot of other countries that use junipers in their food for flavoring, for seasoning. And yet, because we don't use it around here, we get cedar fever around this time. There's also oaks. We've got red oaks, white oaks, and live oaks. The white oaks, their acorns are edible as is. The red oaks, they've got tannins in them that can be a little toxic, but you can boil them or soak them or rinse them out. The live oaks tend to be a little bit in between that range. Oak is a hardwood that's used for a lot of materials. It's used for building. It's a very good material for you. And we've got bamboo, our favorite from the Texas Bamboo Society. We've got a native species with a number of varieties on there. Actually, there's like 3 different species, but they're cross-pollinate. We've got river cane, we've got hill cane, we've got various cane varieties. And we've got a lot of golden bamboo in the area that someone planted. It's kind of gone over, taken over and gone wild, but it's still very useful. Now, clumping bamboo tends to fill in quickly and spread slowly. That's what we call non-invasive. Running bamboo spreads in stages. It fills in slowly for the first few years. But in about 5 years, it can take over an acre. Now, if you want to plant a barrier to keep bamboo contained, you can use metal sheets, you can use plastic, you can use wood. You can dig a trench or a moat. It doesn't like to go under a water area. Now, inside of a bamboo grove, the temperature can be 25 degrees warmer and cooler than the surrounding air. And the fallen leaves are dry on the surface and trap moisture underneath. Partially because of this and the moisture absorbing qualities, bugs don't like to be in a bamboo grove. So while it's a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable for us, we're less likely to get bitten by fire ants or mosquitoes. Now, a pine tree takes about 15 to 30 years to grow 30 feet tall, and it reproduces pretty slowly. But many species of running bamboo within 5 years can be producing hundreds of 20 to 75 foot poles annually. So it's a little more efficient on the resources. Now at this point you might be wishing you could put scrap bamboo in your vehicle's gas tank. Well, in a way you can. The concept of wood gas or coal gas was developed around World War II when they were afraid of the gas shortages. By heating the bamboo to make charcoal or any other wood, you produce, amongst other gases, methane and hydrogen. Now if you run steam in over red hot coals, you also get carbon monoxide and hydrogen as the water breaks down with it. All of this can be burned in a gasoline engine. It can also, with an igniter or mixing partial diesel fuel in there, be burned in a diesel engine. So, what we've gone over are the financial and strategic importance of the local resources in terms of cost, quality, and time it takes to replace it. After all, if it's right nearby, you can replace it pretty quickly. If you've got to wait for it to come in, you're in trouble. We've gone over the examples of the local resources that you can use now in terms of minerals and plants. Now, what you can do now, you can buy from the local producers to help encourage local resources. You can learn from local and national associations like the Bamboo Society. You can start using and cultivating your own local resources. And you can start taking classes and improve your skills. I offer a class in self-defense and survival techniques, and we go over some of this craft. So, I want to finish up with the same concept I brought in to begin with. These tactical principles are of vital importance to the state. It's a matter of life and death, a road to either safety or ruin. Hence, it's a subject of study which cannot be neglected. As Sun Tzu said in his famous work so long ago, is still true today. Thank you.